Welcome, everybody. We're back. Bottom of the bill, season 6. You might notice a couple changes. We are in a new space for right now. Billy is no longer with the podcast. He's going to take a break for a while. May or may not come back. We don't know. But for right now, he's taking a break. But today we have an amazing interview. Isaac Corbitt, our boy for a long time, Melody Trucks Band, TikTok sensation, Honer artist, just amazing musician, harmonica player. The way he thinks about things in general is just awesome. I really had a great time with this conversation. We connected on a lot of different levels, martial arts and the unpopular opinion that was just grotesque. Not going to get over that one. Anyways, yeah, so we're stoked about this being our first episode back. We hope you guys enjoy it. Let us know what you think in the comments, all that good stuff. We are also announcing our 100th episode. We're doing live March 5th with Annie Dukes. They're going to be we're doing it live at Kingmaker Brewery. So we're going to be doing that. It's a Sunday. We're going to do an interview with Annie Dukes, and they're going to perform afterwards. So we're really stoked about that. Tickets are going to be available soon. We'll put links in the description for all that stuff as they come. Merch store is up, all that good stuff. Check out what we got going on. And yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and we hope you enjoy the episode.
As our friend would say, bottom of the bill starts now.
This is Bottom of the Bill.
I got a bunch of different DAW systems, but I always somehow, I guess I'm just lazy, and I end up going, I pay all this money for all these things, and I end up going back to GarageBand.
Yeah.
It's more user-friendly for me.
For sure. I definitely get that. I used it for a long time. To be fair, I'm terrible with every DAW. I love the process of recording and being in the studio, but I hate pushing the buttons. I'm so bad at it.
Producer in training.
See, I'm kind of the opposite. I hate being in the studio and sitting around and recording and just spending the time fucking just over and over and over and over and over. To me, it's just like so blah, blah.
Yeah.
Then you're listening to other people do their parts over and over and over. I guess if it's like a project like me and my brother or me or something, it might be different. But if it's a different band project and there's a ton of members and a ton of things going on, it's just so fucking monotonous. But I do enjoy the recording part. I think it's made my whole recording experience more of a pleasure.
Yeah.
Learning this side of it. So I can at least learn from whoever's the engineer or producer. But now that I've been doing it on my own and putting out my own stuff, and I've learned a ton. And I've also learned you don't have to spend a ton of money to have, honestly, I'll have something I'm like, okay, it's not the best, but at the same time, it's not the worst. Like, I'm not going to sit here and drill myself, and I'll send it to someone master it, and they'll send it back like, that's me.
Yeah.
Damn, that sounds good. You know, it's like, I think it's a matter of like, I can do what I need to do. And then like, if I need to do more, like I won't do vocals at my house here with this setup. I'll like go to a studio and do vocals and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and I'll get a different mix.
Yeah, I recently did some remote recording here at my house for my friend. I'll do a quick plug for. Are we recording, Chris?
Yeah, we're good to go.
Oh, word. For my friend Keith Harry, who's releasing some music up in Asheville, and
Nice.
he sent me some tracks, and I tracked a bunch of guitar stuff here with a little Scarlett system direct in, and then like a cheap plugin that I bought. And I recorded. I was like, yeah, it sounds okay. And then I listened to it in the context of his song once he got it mixed and mastered, and it works. You know, it sounds great. So, you know, you don't need a whole lot.
Dude, That's what I run here. I run a 16 channel board, a 2-channel little Focusrite. You know, it's just it's bare minimum. But then I got a little MPK, Kai Mini board, and it's just for my MIDI stuff. And I got a whole bunch of harmonicas right next to me, and guitars and mandolins and basses. And
Hell yeah!
it's kind of like I can at least get what I need to get. And even if it doesn't sound like it was quality, I can send it to someone in a quality studio and they can make it sound like it was quality.
Totally.
So it's kind of like, that's almost like one of those fake it till you make it things. But hell, I'm living in Nashville, dog. These motherfuckers, if you're not spending $900,000 on a record, it ain't even a record.
Right.
I mean, if there's not $1 million going into it, that ain't even a record.
Totally, man.
So I'm trying to do that shit, for $300, with mixing and mastering. Like, it's the guerrilla way, but it's how many bands have made it the guerrilla way and then go and get swamped in debt, making $1 million record when you've already proven that you got famous making $1,000 record.
Right.
So it's like,
right. Yeah, man, it's such a weird balance to figure out because you want to elevate to that next level, but at the same time, it's like there's all these new stipulations that come into play and all this new pressure when you're talking about, it works the same like any other business. You find investors, and then you have to, get your investors their money back, and you come up with a game plan and figure out, what's the strategy to get my money back look like, type thing. And music is the same thing. You get involved with labels or even private investors that come through and give you a bunch of money, and like there's got to be a game plan. And sometimes it's like there's something to be said for that, but I think it's really important to wait till the right time to make those leaps because people get way ahead of themselves.
Dude, are we good? Are we in this? Because we're about to get deep.
Yeah,
into this
we're recording. We're recording. Yeah.
I was gonna say we could go deep on this if you want, because I feel like there's a whole bunch of people in this world, and what I mean by people is I mean by people's a good way to put it because that's not putting anyone in a category, but like any kind of art, I'll say, whether it be music, whatever medium it is of your artistic, whatever, someone's found a way to monopolize on it.
Oh yeah.
Someone's found a way to make your life easier and more glamorous. Just sign the dotted line.
Right.
And like, that's all we ever wanted. And I say we as in like me and my brother and a lot of people I used to run with growing up, that's all you ever wanted. You waited for that contract. You want that tour bus. You want that record label. And now, if a record label approached me, I would laugh and run the other way.
Yeah.
It's like such a different ball game now because of the internet. And like, I feel like a lot of these younger artists are like, oh, let me get that record deal. Let me get that record deal. Y'all need to go check out Jelly Roll's page. Jelly Roll just put out this entire interview on like, let me tell you what the record companies do not want you to know.
Really? When did that come out?
Dude, it came out a couple weeks ago.
Okay, I'll check that out.
I shared it. I shared it on my page. 2 people liked it, and it was like, because people don't want to hear that shit. They want to see happy pictures. They want to see this and that. The algorithms.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody saw it. Yeah.
But that video was something that I was watching it going, ooh, there's people that are pissed right now that he's saying this.
What kind of stuff was
he saying? He should never be
saying?
saying this. He was saying it all. He was explaining how a record deal goes. He was explaining how a Nashville record deal goes. He was calling out actual record companies, like record deal companies, record labels.
Right.
He was like, this is what you do. So this is how you get you. This is what they give you. This is the percentages. Okay, do you know what a percentage deal is? Let me show you what a percentage deal is. And he goes through all the percentages. And he just really goes in depth about it all and how serious it is and how serious that, like, by the time you make it famous, you're at least $1 million in debt. By the time people see you on CMT and on country music, or they see you, on TV, or you're getting blasted on social media, you're $1 million in debt.
Yeah, totally.
So that's a low end. That's a low end, that's just your record, But it's like, people don't understand that, like, this whole smoke and mirrors thing of a record label and getting a deal, in this age, it almost is better just to buy your own RV, pay it off, Start your own small business. You know what I mean? Pay that shit off. Treat it like a business. That's where I feel like a lot of bands go wrong. They don't treat their band like a business. They treat it like a band.
Yeah, totally.
You know, they don't teach you that kind of shit in high school. You know, they teach you all this stuff that you may or may not need to know, but they don't teach you how to manage money.
Right.
You know, and they don't teach you how to, like, you know, depending on which career you're going to follow, like, this is what you should do and how you should do it. And here's an accountant to tell you why. You know, it's because people in bands just do what people in bands do.
Right.
And it's like they set themselves up for failure. That's what record labels are looking for.
Right.
They're looking for people that don't know how to manage themselves, so they can come in and get you in there, and then they get you in debt for as long as you're, you know, whatever your contract, maybe 10, 7 years, whatever it is. They got your ass.
Yeah.
And then all, you don't own your music. Now you don't own the rights to your music. Now you don't own your tour bus that you love so much.
Right. Now, if I do want to push back on this a little bit, because I think that there's still a place for labels. I think there's a lot of like independent labels out there that are trying to be more, you know, want to catering to their artists a little bit more, but also I don't think it's unlike any other business though, when you think about it, right? It's like you have people that are, you know, the talent of a business. If you're a contractor and your thing is like, you can build shit, or you're really handy and you can like use, but like maybe you're not a business person, right? So it's like you find an investor to come in to like get you all the things that you need to set you up right, and then they're a partner, whatever, however it works, you know, whatever deal you strike. I think music works in the same way with the labels. It is tricky when you're talking about how you pay labels back. There was an interview with what's his name from the Counting Crows, Adam Durant, or I think that's his name. He was talking about it. He was like, so let's say the label, this is like, you know, back in the 90s, right? So it's a little different now, I would imagine. Mm-hmm. So like, but he was talking about, you know, their first record that they put out with a label, and he was like, you know, it's like, okay, well, here's let's just say $500,000 advance, right? And then it's like, okay, so you got to pay it back, obviously. What they don't say is that it's not like you just pay back the $500,000 and then you're good to go. It's that you're paying back the $500,000 through a certain, like you're funneling it through a certain thing, right? So it's like you're
also with interest.
Yeah, of course with interest, but it's like you're paying you're paying the $500,000 through a percentage of record sales, however that works, and it's got to come from that percentage, and then it's like you're paying the interest on top of that. It gets really tricky with how you pay them back, you know, because it's a big risk, you know. So I get all sides of it, you know. I think that there's definitely a need for money people. I think like the best thing for them to do though is just be the money, let the artist create, and then hopefully there's.
I don't know, you're completely right. I think it all comes down to something I've gone back and forth with a lot of people over the years is of what avenue of music are you?
Right.
You know what I mean? There's the people like the Tedeschi Trucks. You ain't never gonna hear them on the radio. Not on like big radio.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's the string cheese incident. There's all these major bands that you ain't never gonna hear on major radio.
Right.
You know, but they have awesome labels who support them and pay them, and they're not probably $1 million in debt. It's a whole different thing. I guess I'm living in Nashville for too long now. I'm thinking like that Nashville country bullshit scene that they got going on up here.
Totally.
You know, and that's where that big money maker is, because that's what the crap you hear on the radio that most of us musicians laugh at and joke at, you know.
Yeah.
It's like cookie cutter neighborhood shit. It's like every house looks the same, every song sounds the same.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked a lot about the pop country epidemic that has plagued our culture.
Dude, I'm
today.
probably all in it. I just recently released a damn pop country song. It is what it is.
Yeah, hey,
you know, it's one. I didn't even want it to go that way, but by the time it was already come out, and I was like, damn, I kind of hate myself for it, but it is what it is. Like,
look, man, there's nothing wrong with. I think that as a songwriter, as an artist, it's good to try and put yourself in those headspaces and try and write in different genres, even if you're not like a fan of them, just to try and understand the genre, right, as like an exercise.
Right.
But just like but that's about as far as my appreciation for that genre of music goes, because
Same.
like it's just like the people that go out to the bars and they request those songs, they sing those songs. You're just like, really? Like, you're okay with like this fast food version of this genre of music that's just like, there's no thought to it. 3 chords, just like the same melodies. It's just like it's just so recycled. It's like the over embellished twang, and like half these guys are not from like the country. They're just like, they're performers, you know. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's just something very inauthentic about that genre of music to me.
It's also a fact. Country music would never survive in Nashville. When country music started in Nashville, the kind of country music everybody wants to wear Johnny Cash shirts, Johnny Cash would never make it in Nashville these days. People would hate him because he doesn't have a drum machine behind him. He doesn't have a pop country feel.
Oh man,
everybody wants to talk about Patsy Cline, but how many of these people wearing a Patsy Cline shirt have even heard of Patsy Cline?
Right.
Oh, you're preaching now.
Look at it. Oh, it's bullshit, man. It's total like, no, you gotta be kidding me.
Totally, man. Totally.
But Chris, are you on here? Is there any way I can see you, or are you just mic'd in?
Oh, I'm just mic'd in. I'm hanging out behind the scenes.
I was just wondering if I was missing a camera feed on here. I'm like,
nah, I can't switch 2 places at once. It'll drive me. Well, we'll talk about that one day, Anton.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But
yeah, man, there's a lot to be said for the bullshit that goes on with record labels. There is a time and place. There is lots of musicians who have seen the wrong end of it and started a record label, and I've seen that be successful. I could name quite a few of them, and I'm sure they take care of their people a lot better. You think about people like Government Mule and Warren Haynes, like he owns a record label.
Right.
Well, whatever record label he's under, if it wasn't even his, they probably got to be cool. They're not cutting no radio deals. They're cutting Government Mule style deals.
Right. Right.
Which is completely different because he ain't selling out stadiums.
Right.
It's just kind of like, what level of the music do you want to be in? And then also, how much do you want to be in debt to that thing that you love?
Right. That's what I was trying to say earlier about the percentage thing. So this is how it worked. Sorry to backtrack because I didn't explain it right the first time, and I just had it. It's the way Adam Durant was talking about it is that all right, so when you cut the record, right, let's say $500,000, whatever, here's your advance, you cut the record, you release it. Now, the deal that you strike is that as the artist, you take X amount of percentages in royalties, right? So you're not, and the label takes a percentage of the royalties and everything else. Now, the label's not getting paid back from their end of the percentage, right? They're getting paid back through your percentage. So if you're getting 10% on record sales or whatever it might be, then you got to pay the $500,000 back through that 10%. It's not the $500,000, gross. It's through your 10% that you're paying it back, and then the interest, and then once that's paid back.
So that's what Jelly Roll talks about, all that,
right?
And then talks about on top of that, you just touched on it, but the interest. That's not even included in what we're talking
about.
You're paying on this out of your 10% that's not even coming out of your interest.
Right.
It's just coming out of your 10%.
Exactly.
So you'll never realistically, unless you continually have number 1 or top 5 songs, it's an unrealistic expectation.
These days it's hard because of the way that it works. Like FM radio still pays the best, and it's still a viable route to go.
Somehow.
Yeah, I don't understand it. I don't know anyone who listens to it.
I don't either. Yeah. I think that goes in tiers as well.
Yeah.
From what I've heard, like what tier are you? Are you a Billy Strings or are you a Lil Wayne?
Right.
It's like, yeah, he's doing really good, but he ain't. Whoa!
Yeah.
It's one of those. It's kind of like what tier are you as to how much you're getting paid. We all know our level entry level musicians is nothing.
Yeah.
You're not going to see. I could have a million streams and I'm not going to see much at all.
Right. Right. Because like the more, like, because the idea is that if you're Lil Wayne, like your presence on the platform is bringing X amount of listeners, so we can cut you this deal on, you know, your streaming, on what percentage you're taking of the streams, you know. But if you're Joe Schmo uploading music and you had a song that just got on a playlist and it's hit and it's like, you know, 500,000 plays, like you're gonna get a smaller percentage per stream, just because like chances are no one's coming to Spotify or Apple Music because of you, right? So it's just like it's tricky, it's complicated, but you know, it's how business works across the board. I think musicians are a sensitive bunch sometimes, and we get all like you know, up in arms about how we're taking advantage of and this and that. It's like, yeah, that does happen.
Well, it's personal.
Yeah, totally. Like, well,
it's personal. I mean, if you're in a lawn care service, then that's just taking care of someone's lawn. It's not a song that came out of your heart and out of your head and that you are passionate about.
I guess that's true.
You know,
yeah,
it's so personal.
Yeah, but that's the things that there's no real value in your attachment to something other than what, you know, if it's selling, then there's value there. Just because you write a song and you like it and you think it has legs doesn't mean that anybody owes you anything for it. You have to go out there and like prove that there's a reason for people to buy into your brand, you know, and the music is just one part of it. So, you know, I try and look at it from every angle, like from, obviously I'm an artist, so I want to like sympathize with my peers. But I do think that there's a lot of like whining and a lot of like things that happen with artists where it's just like complaining about situations. It's like, okay, well then just figure out how to adapt. And it works.
Yep. Yeah, that's for sure. Well, that's why I feel like there's a big disconnect with a lot of musicians of, you know, you have a job. Most musicians I know, you know, have a job and then they play music. You know, it's like not a lot of people live like me and my brother did for as long as we did, you know, just, but I just,
And the thing.
yeah, man, that was you know, it was the start of everything. You know, it was everything to me. It still is, man. I love my brother dearly. We don't get to play together that much, but it was the unexpected. It was something that wasn't planned. You know, like, I don't know how backstory you want to go, but I can make it real quick. You know, like,
Whatever you want to do.
my dad bought my brothers guitars for graduating high school. Those Esteban, you know, on TV, the old Esteban guitars. My dad bought both of my brothers one. So they started playing. My mom and dad always played gospel and stuff, and in church, and grandparents played. I never got into it. Never really got into guitar. Never got into much. Was really into hip hop and rap most of my life. You know, I liked country music and liked all sorts of stuff, but I never listened to lyrics. I was the guy that was just there for the beat. You know, just kind of whatever just caught my attention, and then, you know, one day my dad had bought me a $5 little Cracker Barrel harmonica, and I was like, why the hell would you ever waste your money on that? Threw it in my center console of my truck, and I was doing electrical work at the time, and was on my way to work and heard a Doobie Brothers song, Long Train Running, Without Love. And I heard this bitchin' harmonica solo, and I went diving in my damn center console and found that harmonica. It just happened to be a key C. Happened to be the same thing that harmonica in the song was in. So like most of the notes I hit were absolute shit, man. It sounded horrible, but two of them were the right note, and that was all I needed. It was like, oh man, like wow, if I could learn that, how cool would that be able to do? And so like I went home after work and bought that CD, that album, and wear it out, dude. I mean, I must have rewind that bitch 2,000 times. But within a month, I had that whole solo. I taught myself it. I was 16.
16. Okay. Wow. That's all. And you were.
Yeah. There's videos of me as a child, like walking around I'm talking about like 4 or 5 years old, walking around playing harmonica, like just grabbing a random one that was at a house and like blowing along with my parent or my grandparents playing guitar and singing, you know, and my parents playing gospel. And I guess there was something there, but now we all look at it like, oh wow, can you imagine? Like, at that point in your life, you were already drawn to it,
Right.
and you had no clue. Like I played trumpet in band, you know what I mean? Like there was no harmonica in my life growing up. Like it wasn't my deal.
Right.
It just kind of fell in naturally to me. I've always been self-taught, and once I taught myself that solo from that song, that Long Train Running, I said, well, what the hell else can I learn? And then my brother just so happened, my oldest brother Newsom just so happened to like get serious into guitar, and was kind of like, and his ex-fiance worked at an Outback Steakhouse in Jacksonville, and one of the kitchen managers two of the kitchen managers were in a band. It was like a metal band. So she was like, I know you and your brother Isaac are wanting to, starting to love music, and I know these guys in a band that I work with. Like, would y'all ever want to go hear them practice? So we went over, and like, it was the first time Newsom was like, wow, and they were totally cool. They were metal, but they were like, hey, plug in. We'll teach you how to play power chords. And they looked at me, and that was the first time anyone had ever been like, yo, I got this bullet mic and this amp. You should play harmonica through it. And I was like, an amp? What? And it just changed everything. So then us and those guys ended up forming another big band and joined by our other brothers. So there was 3 Corbitt brothers in the band. It's called Southern Trouble. And we ended up doing a bunch of cool stuff in Jacksonville and opening up for a bunch of bigger people and everything. But it eventually kind of fell to the wayside just because of different members of the band were in different standpoints. Some had kids, some didn't. It just kind of fell apart. No like hard feelings. It just happened. And that's kind of when, not too far after that, me and my brother moved up here to Murfreesboro, and I was just being whored out on Broadway, playing with everyone downtown, and everyone promised to pay me, but no one ever paid me $1. And I was playing with all the local bands here in Murfreesboro, and everyone promised to pay me, but no one ever paid me $1. So eventually, after a long time of this, Newsom was like, we should probably think about starting our own shit. And I kind of laughed at him and was like, well, who the hell's going to sing? Because you sound like shit and I don't sing. And he goes, well, me. And I said, yeah, right. And to think back on it now that people hire him just to sing on their albums, I feel like such an idiot. But he morphed into this singer that we never knew him as. And then, you gotta think he's almost 7 years older than me, and I was 19, so he was 28 when we moved here, almost 30. With his punk ass little brother who was like just eating and drinking and snorting everything there was. You know what I mean? It's like I was just being wild, and he came. He was my pretty much caretaker, my older brother, and my mentor. He was everything to me, and still is. But it was one of those, at the time, we were just living and we were partying. And that's back when he used to drink and we were partying together. It was just a party. But then we started the Corbitt Brothers Band, and, there was this bar, this old biker bar. It's funny, too, because it's crazy. Is we used to live across the street from this bar. I now live across the street from that bar again. And that was the home of the Corbitt Brothers, like, for years before we, like, went out and went crazy. But yeah, total full circle, like insane. Yeah, dude, it was, it was one of those situations where they were like, we'll give y'all $50 for the whole band, and we'll give you free beer, and we need you to play for 4 hours. And we were like, hell yeah. So in true musician fashion, we would drink $200 worth of beer and owe money.
Right.
But we were working at a liquor store and shit and just had little jobs, and we paid for it. And eventually, man, those nights where we would play there's 2 reasons it grew. One, because it was fun and people enjoyed it. And we were playing stuff people want to hear. And 2, because I was hustling so hard on Broadway. So I'm playing with all these famous bands and then other bands that weren't famous that had a big name in Nashville. So, like, I'm out getting whored out because I'm one of the only people doing what I was doing at the time at my age and doing it for free. Everyone else, was old. If you wanted a good harmonica player, they were going to be old and they were going to cost you some money.
Right.
So, I was young from Florida doing it for free. So all these people from Nashville on their night off would drive to Murfreesboro and show up at our gigs. And then all of a sudden their fans would start coming. And all these other bands, I was playing with tons of bands. bands, like not just one or two, but 30, 40. So like all these different musicians would come in to sit in with us, and they knew that it wasn't their gig, so they could just get drunk and raise hell.
All right, guys, this episode's brought to you by Best Buds CBD Store. If you're like me, maybe THC isn't always the right high for you, or maybe the legal status of THC has you a bit hesitant to indulge. So at Best Buds CBD Store, they have an array of CBD and Delta-8 THC products. These guys truly care about their service, so everything is meticulously sourced and prepared to deliver a top-notch product and experience. If you head to their website, you'll find all kinds of educational information regarding Delta THC and CBD. Not to mention, if you use promo code BotB, that's BOTB pod, you'll save 10% on your order. This is not a one-time deal. If you use promo code BotB, every time you place an order with Best Buds, it will give you 10% off. That's in perpetuity, forever. So head over to bestbudscbdstore.com and start saving on all of your CBD and Delta-8 products. Enjoy, guys. Are you a fan of dog parks? Well, how about drinking? Because at Canine Social, you can quite literally do both. Located in Jacksonville's Riverside neighborhood, Canine Social offers both indoor and outdoor dog parks with plenty of space for your fur babies to socialize and exercise. Canine Social also has a wide array of local and regionally brewed craft beers on tap, as well as kombucha, nitro coffee, and wine if beer just isn't your thing, like me. They also offer unparalleled dog training programs with the best in-class trainers of Jet Set University and luxury boarding services as well. Be sure to head to their website at caninesocial.com to find out all the info you need to be sure you and your pup have the best experience available at Canine Social. All right, guys, I want to take a second to talk to you about my favorite music store in Jacksonville. This is Mock Shop Music Exchange. It's a place for true gearheads. They work with some of the most boutique pedal companies on the market, which for someone like me is super important. I love supporting smaller brands, but I also like being able to create my own unique sound. And with the variety of boutique brands these guys work with, it's almost certain you'll find that sound. They not only carry an assortment of pedals, amps, and guitars, they also offer top-notch gear repair with everyone's favorite tech, Mikey. These guys have come through for me in a pinch more than on a few occasions, and I won't spend my money anywhere else. So make sure you guys check out Mock Shop Music Exchange in the Murray Hill neighborhood of Jacksonville. You will not regret it. Super knowledgeable, amazing gear. Check it out and enjoy the experience.
Anyone that listens to Isaac knows John Popper is a huge influence of mine, and I have no problem saying it, man. He, to me, is the wizard. I remember back when I first started playing harmonica, talking to buddies of mine, and we'd be listening to the 4 album of Blues Traveler, and like listening to Run Around and all these songs. And we used to joke, me and my old foreman, can you imagine one day if you could play like that? And it's kind of crazy looking back on it now that I could play it note for note, maybe even and add something. John Popper is my GOAT, man. He's my like Stevie Ray Vaughan for Stevie Ray Vaughan people. He's my Jimi Hendrix for the Jimi Hendrix people. Like he will forever. And I've had the pleasure of playing with him. And for anyone watching this, there's a cool video on YouTube. Just type in Isaac Corbitt and John Popper. Got up with him one time. That was the second time I had met him. I had met him one time in Lexington, Kentucky. And I was with another band that opened up for him. And ended up before the show, he had like a meet and greet. And my brother Newsom had walked up to him and was like, hey, my little brother Isaac's here, and he's a big fan of yours. And he kind of walked up to me and didn't have much time, but he was like, hey, man, do you want to hear my harmonica? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, okay, I'm going to put you in this room back here that's got a Leslie cabinet, and we're recording this show live. So if you sneeze, if you fart, if you hiccup, it's going to be on my album, and I'm going to be pissed off. He was like, so don't make a sound, because it's just going to be you, a Leslie, and a microphone in there. But if you're a real harmonica player and you want to hear what I'm doing, it's just all you're going to be able to hear is just harmonica without the band. And I was like, done. I mean, who wouldn't want to sit in a room with their idols cabinet, like record live,
totally,
without the band, like without the band, just harmonica feed. So like, it was crazy, man. And that towards the end, he took a little breather, and I came out. His production manager came out, and like I came out, And I watched the rest of the show and was just like, holy shit. And then afterwards, I got to like go up there and hold his mic and he kind of explained some stuff. But he was doing a meet and greet. Long story short, my brother walked up to him and was like, dude, I was so cocky. I had one of those bandoliers on of harmonicas. What an idiot. And I like walked up to John Popper, dude. My brother was like, my brother's a big fan of you. You let him in there and see your thing. We got to ride out. We got to dip out. But like, is there any way? And John Popper's like, well, I'm kind of in the middle of a meet and greet. And he was like, just saying, man, he's your biggest fan. Which I can still choke my brother for to this day. But he was always, always pushing me. So like John Popper was like, hold the meet and greet. Where's your brother? So I came out and had this bandolier of harmonicas on it. And he goes, if you had one question for me, what would it be? And I said, how the hell do you run those high notes on these harmonicas? You do it so clean, but every time I do it, they mute out. And he said, what does? You or your harmonicas? I said, my harmonicas. It's not me. And he goes, oh, you got a bunch of them. Which one? And I looked down and I went, oh, that one. And he took it right off my chest. It went, he goes, sounds good. I think you need to practice.
Oh shit!
And put it right back in my bandolier, and I just went, "Thank you." That's all I ever needed to know. Thank you so much. I hugged him, and we walked away.
That's hilarious, man.
I was like, someone just showed me that all my excuses was bullshit.
Yeah, man, that's a very real thing for sure, But I'm curious about the genesis of this style of playing because you got guys that came before. Like you got guys like, like Howard Levy, right? That kind of have like the jazz and like more, chromatic harp and all that stuff. But then you got, James Cotton and then, kind of like more funky upbeat blues. And then you got like Little Walters, more traditional Delta stuff before him. So it to me, like you can see where people are getting their influences. When John Popper came out and did his thing, you might know better than I do. I don't know where that style, I don't know what the genesis of that style was. I don't know anybody that came.
John Popper.
Yeah, I don't know what who sounds like that, even remotely like that on the harp before him.
He had many. I mean, he put out a book a couple years ago. It's called it's called something hilarious. I forget what it is. I haven't. Wait, is it right here? He gets so personal that it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Talks about like jacking off in the tour bus and having a heart attack while he's jacking off.
Oh my God.
Just random weird stuff, but he's also a very eccentric random guy. I've gotten the pleasure to hang out with him more than a handful of times. And he's a sweetheart, but he is just, he's not your conventional human being that colors inside the lines.
He's an artist, yeah.
He's John Popper. He's an artist.
Yeah.
And a little bit of backstory on him. He was actually a fan of Sugar Blue, which is if y'all never heard Sugar Blue on harmonica, woo, check him out. God, you want to talk about a player. But he was also a fan of multiple other people. The way I see music, and when people ask me all the time, I've been very blessed in my life, and I've done a lot of interviews and a lot of podcasts and stuff, and people always want to know the same thing you just asked, like what's the evolution of like your style? It's not one or two people. It's 15, 20 people.
Of course, yeah.
You know what I mean? And when I mean that, I mean like not even harmonica people. Like some of it's organ people, some of it's guitar people, some of it's rappers.
Right.
Some of it's, just it all comes from different angles. So I feel like John Popper and most people, Anton, who was your top two guitar players you listened to?
Growing up, Stevie Ray Vaughan was probably number one, and then probably Jimmy Page.
Okay, so that's two, but I'm sure you could name off quite a few more.
Oh my, yeah, especially people that have inspired me more recently, yeah, for sure.
So you pick and grab a little bit off of everything.
Right.
So when I came to Nashville as a harp player, because my harp playing was very like country inspired. I always liked Terry McMillan, which was Garth Brooks' harmonica player, like Ain't Going Down Till the Sun Comes Up. That harmonica solo in there is still to this day even hard, like extremely difficult for someone even in my caliber to do. It's like, whoa. But at the same time, I grabbed a little bit off of that. I would go to reggae bands and hear a reggae drummer and grab that. and then grab a harmonica, and it's something that not any other harmonica players were doing.
That's true. I've noticed that your style, you do have this very percussive approach from time to time.
Dude,
it's cool.
That's a drummer.
Yeah.
That's someone on a drum going pop, 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 pop. It's almost like a drum line thing.
Totally.
And it's, that's what spurred my TikTok career. That's what like catapulted that, was putting that to hip hop. And people were like, we've heard harmonica in every genre. We ain't never heard it in this. And that's why Honer called me and was like, you need to be on our team. And I was like, bitch, I've been reaching out to y'all for 15 years. Like, I mean, I've had labels reach out. I've had like family members reach out. I've had investors reach out. I've had PR people reach out, and everyone gets the, we're not interested.
Right.
It was like, it's TikTok that got it for me.
Right.
Which, I'm thankful, but it's also like, wow, it wasn't all the cool stuff I learned along the way, or the big stages, or the people I played with. It was this day and age, it's the 10-second clip.
Of course, yeah. And you kind of found a real cool niche, I think. TikTok being like, when you were, I mean, you still are very active on it, but like when you first started, utilizing the platform, it was, in America, like a brand new platform almost. And then not only was it like, this untapped oil field for really any content creator at that time, but then you had this totally unique and different approach to an instrument that people don't typically know as like, the average person doesn't think of the harmonica as like an instrument like they would like the guitar or the bass, the drums or something. So you come in and you do this thing, and they're like, holy shit, there's like legit harmonica players in the world,
Do you know why I hate telling people I'm a harmonica player?
Why?
Every other musician in the world, you know why, motherfucker. You're about to crack up laughing right now. No one thinks of it as an instrument. Yeah. They're all like, oh, God dang, you play harmonica. Make sure not to get him up.
Yeah.
It's like, it's the stigma that comes along, because anyone that breathes can go, I'm a harp player.
Totally. And that is a big problem with that instrument, is that there's so many people that just don't understand like its full capability, and furthermore really take the time to learn the instrument, the technique and how, like how it works in the context of music and all this stuff. So I think that is a very unique thing to that instrument, where you guys have a lot of hacks that have like kind of hijacked the instrument, I feel like, unfortunately.
Let me just tell you though, I'm glad I'm not a guitar player.
Oh man.
I don't mean any disrespect.
Of course not.
But the cutthroat in that business, to be the next best player, God dang, like how can you even try to create something that ain't been done?
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's one of those, like for harmonica, I do feel like I had a little bit of a monopoly. It's also one step further. It's kind of crazy to think that like I may have just created a new subgenre of music with the harp and drums.
Right.
Like there was nothing ever like this before. And that was from the mouth of Honer. They were just like, wow, this is different. You're doing something different than anyone's ever done before that we know of.
What's impressive about it too, man, is like the way you're paying attention to the timbre of like, so you do a lot of this stuff with Greg Hersey, or Hershey, right? Hershey, I say it? Can't remember. Phenomenal drummer.
Hersey,
yeah. Phenomenal drummer.
Badass.
And so you've done a lot of stuff with him on TikTok, and the way that you pay attention to the timbre of the drums, right? It's like you're gonna adjust what pitch you're hitting depending on if he's hitting a snare or a tom, or if he's accenting the kick. You're gonna adjust your timbre to match that as close as you can. Mm-hmm. So you're literally playing the harmonica like a percussion instrument,
Well, then I'm taking it one step further, and I'm trying to find a people-pleasing key. I'm a big believer in frequencies. Different frequencies put off different vibes and different moods. When I'm going to play with someone like Greg, I will usually choose a lower key or a flat key instead of a major key.
Mm.
And, the flat keys resonate more with people. And this is all analysis, dude. This is off my own videos and analysis that I've taken. I put out stuff on a major key and it will not resonate like flat keys or lower toned harmonicas.
Interesting.
Very interesting. So it's one of those, to me, when people ask me all the time, like, how are you getting this success on TikTok? and to me, I equate it as, well, I'm doing something no one ever did. I'm not coming on here playing blues licks.
Right.
I'm not coming on here showing you playing out country licks. I can do it, yeah, but like, what's the point? Everyone's done it. I'm coming on here specifically playing it to hip hop.
Right.
I mean, as I gained followers and people started requesting other songs, yeah. Now I have on there's not a genre of music that you could be like, you don't play this. And I'd be like, well, you ain't looked at my page.
Yeah.
There's hundreds of videos, but you're going to find whatever you're looking for on there.
I think it's important also that because you stay true to what you do. I don't think that, if you were out there trying to be like do the blues thing, I don't think that would come across as authentic to you. I think that you like genuinely love the stuff that, especially when you were first starting out and just doing what you do, the hip hop stuff and the percussion aspect of it, and trying to like figure out the place in these different genres that truly speak to you, and not trying to regurgitate something that you don't truly connect with,
Honestly, it all kind of, I think I touched on it a second when we first got started, but it all started with hip hop before the music was ever involved, before I ever learned a love for an instrument. We'll say that. Hip hop called to me more so than any other music. For those who are wondering, I went to Wolfson High School in Jacksonville. You know what I mean? And that was let's just say it's a very diverse school. You know what I mean? I wasn't someone that went to an all-white school or an all this or that. Like, it was very diverse, but at the same time, it was like fundamentally, I mean, you had just kids just beating on desks and walls, and then other kids start rapping. And it's like, growing up with that influence, it's like it never left me. It still never leaves me. So it's like when I think harmonica, I think like, oh yeah, the country thing's been done, everything's been done. But like even in my head, just in my head on a normal day, if you're like, hey, what are you thinking about? I'm like, I'm thinking about like there's always beats just going on in my head.
Right.
So, hip hop's always kind of been there for me. But when I learned that I could put that to a harmonica, or beatbox with the harmonica, it was kind of a game changer with me. And it, a lot of people don't know this probably about me, but like all the stuff that I do on TikTok, it's multiple takes. A lot of people think I one take this, it takes me hours and hours and hours to put out these, I'll do like, back before I had a real job. Right now I got a damn corporate job. So like but that's only been for a month. But before then I had time. So I'd sit down on a Monday and put out 25 videos and put them in my drafts. But it would take me like 10 hours.
Right.
Just sitting here, putting out stuff, getting the right mix, getting the right take after take after take to where I was happy with it. Song after song, video after video. And then I would put them in my drafts. And then every day I'd upload one. Or days that one would catch, I'd upload two. And I just followed that algorithm. But every Monday I'd treat it like a business. I'd upload 20 more.
Right.
And all throughout the week, whenever I saw somebody that I thought I could, or a video that I could like duet to, I'd save it. So then I'd go back to my save videos come Monday and I'd bust them out. And everyone's like, dude, how the hell are you keeping up with 2 a day? Like, that's insane. And I'm like, well, I dedicate a full day. It's like meal prep.
Right.
You dedicate a full day to cooking so that you don't have to worry about cooking the whole rest of the week. It's no different.
Sorry, go ahead, yeah.
No, you got it. That's what I'm saying. It's no different.
Yeah, that's the whole thing that I think people don't really understand about, or I mean, I think a lot of people do understand, but I think that, people that don't understand about the backlogging the content thing, it's like that's a real thing. People aren't just spending every waking hour on social media. Like people are taking a day, 2 days, and they're backlogging things, for months at a time sometimes. And then that way, the work is done for 3 months, and then you go back and it's cool that you've been able to. I've tried to do the same discipline thing. I'm terrible with, especially with TikTok, just because it's so demanding with how often you upload. So like,
well, TikTok, I've been inspired because
right.
of what TikTok has offered me.
Right.
I'm now making money off TikTok. I got America's Got Talent calling me off TikTok.
Really?
I've gotten a Hunter sponsorship off TikTok. I got people wanting studio work off TikTok. There's people just wanting to like pay to chat with me off TikTok, just to hang out with me like this. TikTok has brought so much to my attention that I never dreamed would happen because the Facebook and Instagram algorithms are trash.
Yeah.
So Yeah, it's a Chinese-owned company, and yeah, they're stealing all my information, and they're reading every text message I send, and they have my biometrics, and they know every picture that's ever been on my phone and my location, dude. If you actually read the user agreement for TikTok,
it's
they
so
violate
invasive.
every U.S. rule they violate. That's why the United States keeps wanting to ban it, because like they are taking everything off you.
Right.
But at the same time, they're the only one who's ever actually showed me love, which is like this weird. I never got this love from Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, none of it. Vine, nothing.
Yeah.
But now all of a sudden, this company has got me. You know, I have people emailing me in French and Chinese, and I have to translate it because they're getting people all around the world. They're just like, I love you. I found you on TikTok. You're wonderful. It's like, Facebook never did that.
Yeah. Well, they're such different platforms, too, in the way that they operate. Like, Facebook is a closed network. So, people are like, they're not really actively seeking out content on Facebook. They're trying to shift that. They're doing reels now on Facebook and stuff. But like, Facebook is like, here's your friends. Here's your echo chamber. Stay here. And that's basically it. It was kind of like a revitalized version of MySpace, which is a closed network. And and then you have, Instagram, which is much more of an open network, and people seek out content on Instagram and all that stuff, but it's at this point, it's so saturated, and then TikTok came up with this new thing where it was like, you got these short clips and you go through, and the way the algorithm works, you can literally have 0 followers and just get discovered, because it shows your videos to people. And that's just, whatever downside there is to being a Chinese-owned company, they've definitely figured out how Americans work, and we like being discovered.
You are totally right. You just hit that on the head. They have figured it out how Americans work. They want American who doesn't have much to offer to the internet to go, pencil.
Right.
And now you have 1,000 followers. You have
right.
1,000 followers because 1,000 people loved that you went, pencil. It's something that would never get 2 likes on Instagram or Facebook. You know what I mean? They've found a way to make you feel special.
Right. Right.
So when someone that's not used to feeling special feels special, they're going to spend every waking moment on it.
Totally. It's as simple as like just making the algorithm work in a more chronological way, right? It's not so much about, like, Instagram has all these crazy, ways to cater your page to see this and see that. And TikTok, you can get there too. But at the end of the day, it just operates in a more chronological fashion. If someone uploads a video at this time and then you upload a video just like right after that in a similar category, people that are into that thing are just going to see it. That's just what it is. Yep. Instagram most likely won't do that for you,
It's not going to, and you're not going to get people like, someone from, I just throw out a country, France. And that's my second reference to French, but like someone from France will share my video that's famous. Now all of a sudden I get thousands of comments all in French. Someone from China will share my video and I don't know about it. I just wake up the next day and be like, damn, I got 9,000 followers last night. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But it's like someone shared it and all those comments are all Chinese. And then someone will share it from Bolivia and it's like, it escalates and escalates. And I'm like, all of a sudden, I really do feel like I'm getting worldwide. Like I never did on Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat or Vine or YouTube. They suppress it. Yeah, you're going to have a bunch of Americans going, oh, that sounds great. But if they're really putting it out there, why are there not Australians and Chinese people and people from every nation? Why are they not commenting on my videos? I commend, TikTok, for this, you know what I mean? It almost gives people like me and you, I could go to Europe right now, or I could go to Bangkok and probably do a gig and have people there to see me because of TikTok.
Right.
Which is nuts.
Right.
This shit don't happen on Facebook, and like you'd have to be posting in a, it just doesn't
work in the same. Yeah, it's just not the same kind of platform, and it's interesting because it's like, there's all this hate from especially the older generation with TikTok, and also it's like, and to me, I feel like, okay, there's the argument to be made for, the data stealing and all that stuff. I can buy that. However, I also don't think it's as like mindless and dumbing down it as the older generation makes it seem, because like, you know, if you're younger, especially a teenager, early 20s, and like you're coming up with this platform, like you know how to navigate it better than this older generation does. So to them, they don't know how to use it, so they see all dumb shit. But these kids are using it and they're seeing not dumb shit because they know how to utilize the platform to work in their favor. And furthermore, they're learning how to create, you know, some of the content on TikTok, as obviously because you create a lot of it, it's like it's good content. It's actually like it can be informative, it can be hilarious, it can be talent, it can be whatever. But you know, if you're proactive on the platform, then you can really cater your feed to be like whatever you want it to be. It doesn't have to be stupid dances and just mindless bullshit, you know.
That's why it's so addicting.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it.
It plays to your interest. You know what I mean? Like if you just everything you said is 100% correct. They play to your interest, but at the same time, isn't that what you want?
That's what you want
out of a social media. That's why they're getting so famous, and that's why, you know, I think Australia just banned them. India just banned TikTok.
Yep.
A bunch of people just because it's invasive, but at the same time, you know, I don't know what I'm not gonna say no one knows what the Chinese intent is.
Right.
You know, the Chinese government, the regime itself, you know, like that's a whole different ball game. And I mean, if they got some little AI running around with my fingerprints over there, then like, I don't know, you know, whatever, you know, it is what it is. But at the same time, I've also getting a lot of love. I do want to circle back real quick. There's someone I really have to mention when it comes to the world of harmonica. The best player I know and one of my best friends, and he's been a massive influence in me. And back when I used to not be able to play like John Popper, he was the one who necessarily taught me how to play like John Popper. His name is Gregory Hommert. Hommert. Anyone listening, you can look him up on YouTube, TikTok. Definitely. I just got him to get on TikTok. In my opinion, he is the greatest harmonica player in the world, bar none, hands down.
Really?
So in the harmonica community, have you ever heard of Jason Ricci?
Oh yeah, of course.
So Jason Ricci just put him on Jason Ricci's podcast and said Gregory is the best. Literally, the title was Best Harmonica Player in the World, Gregory Hommert.
Wow.
And that's what Jason Ricci called him. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Jason Ricci, for those of you who are watching this that don't know, in the harmonica world, he is one of the most worldwide well-known players as far as like classical, jazz, fusion, country, rock, any way you go, that guy tears it up. And I would love for you to look him up. But if you're going to go looking up people, you should look up Gregory Hommert because he's the underdog. He's the one that has been everyone's friend and taught everyone their stuff, but never got the recognition. So I can't honestly say I'd be the player I am today without Greg. I mean, it's just straight up. If I didn't mention him, it'd be a travesty because it's bullshit. When I first came to Tennessee and I met him, was playing in a bar in Nashville downtown, and someone said, "You got to come clear this harmonica player." Well, as a harmonica player in this town, you know that's almost a direct threat. It's like, oh well, there are only 3 of us here, so like, there's another one,
right?
You know, it's not like guitar players, you know. So it was kind of like one of those, like I walked in and heard this guy play and immediately put my harmonicas back in my pocket and walked back outside.
No shit.
Like, yeah, I can't. I don't even want to play next to this guy. Everyone pushed us. Everyone pushed us on stage and pushed me up there, and we finally got on stage together. And I was shitting bricks, and I played, and he dumbed it down and played with me because he didn't want to be a dick and blow me out of the water in front of everyone. That's
such a cool thing that like true seasoned musicians do. You know what I mean? I think that like I've had the pleasure of playing with some guys, especially coming up, that offered me that courtesy. Then I had guys, as I'm sure you've had on the other end of the spectrum, that were just like, like cut your fucking head off up there. You're just like, say, all right, like, what do we do? Are we trying to like create a thing, or are we just trying to show everybody here that I suck? What's happening right now? You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's cool to find musicians that like can utilize that kind of restraint, you know?
I was definitely used to the latter here in Nashville. I was used to the older cats that were like, shut up and listen.
Right.
You know, and we're trying to like make you feel small. When I met this guy, it was very different. He played from his heart. You never saw him play with his eyes open. His eyes were closed and he was just like in his own world. But his world was guitar players, organ players, everyone's watching him like, did he just play that?
Yeah.
Like, he's not a conventional player. He's nothing like me. You know what I mean? Like, he showed me how to be kind of where I wanted to be. But he's just one of those players, man. He's like I said, even, you know, if John Popper got the chance to sit down with him, John Popper would be like, ooh, good Lord. You know, same as Jason Ritchie, calling him, you know, one of the greatest harmonic players in the world. Howard Levy could sit down with this guy and would be like, wow. So what he's getting into now, and I've been pushing him into it, and thank God he's reluctant, because I said, you know, when it comes to harmonica, he was kind of disparaged on TikTok and stuff, because he's like, man, you're already crushing it. There's not enough room, you know, to harmonica players as far as doing what you're doing. And I said, yeah, but you're not a hip hop player. Do what you do is rack. This dude now is putting out rack of him playing guitar and harmonica at the same time.
Oh yes, I've seen you share this guy.
Yes, that's the dude I'm talking about.
Okay.
And he's doing like Django Reinhardt, gypsy jazz, extremely difficult, extremely jazz, like on the harmonica, like overblows and overbends and this crazy shit that I don't even know how to do.
He's doing it
And
on
it's
a diatonic harp.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And he makes harmonicas and he sets them up. And he's just like one of those guys. But he's also a family man with 500 kids and full-time job, you know, very successful dude. But I couldn't do this podcast without mentioning him and giving a little backstory, because every time I feel like I tell everybody, you know, I'm self-taught. I am self-taught. I don't know how to read music, but at the same time, whenever I run into a pickle, still till this day, if I get into a studio and someone's asking for something and I'm like, I will immediately call him. And he'll either be like, I'm going to send it to you broke down note for note to help you out, or tell him to call me. Because at that point, I would gladly be like, yo, I know you love me, but this is past my caliber. You know what I mean? If you want someone that's above me, you need to call this guy. Because there's just certain stuff that people want in, you know, especially I'm not a jazz dude. I hit overblows. There's certain runs that people want to be note for note. And I am the epitome of fake it till you make it. Like,
Yeah.
I will make a note and I'll bend up to it to make it sound right, but it's not the actual note.
Right.
So,
That's,
you know, this dude Greg showed me there's 19 positions on a harmonica. He said, I can take a C harmonica or any harmonica and play every position for you, every scale, every major and minor pentatonic scale, every mode I can play for you on any harmonica. And if I could, he's the kind of guy who could show up to an Anton show and play the entire show on one harmonica.
That's awesome. I think that's like, you know, to me, that doesn't seem super far fetched, you know, because like, first off, I'm not saying that it's not, that it's easy, but just like, as far as like what the capabilities of the harmonica are, right? If somebody truly understands how to manipulate the instrument, then you can make it do whatever you want it to do, because there is bending and there is like hitting these notes that shouldn't really exist on the harp if you know how to manipulate the instrument, you know. And
well, no, you also have to tune the instrument to be able to do that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can't take a stock harp and just go blasting out overbend. Like I could make one that would be like half overblow, or you know, but these guys set up their harmonicas to where they can. They file their reeds down and retune them so that they can do that.
So you want like a thinner reed, I would imagine, to be able to manipulate it more, or like how does it work?
You want like an I forget if it's embossed or debossed. I'm pretty sure it's called an embossed reed. So hold on one second. I think I got a reed plate right here. I got a reed plate somewhere right here. You know, I don't know how much people know about harmonicas.
Yeah, we're definitely getting in baseball here.
Yeah, okay. So it's one of those things where harmonicas have a top reed plate and a bottom reed plate. Each plate has 10 reeds on it. They're paper thin, like paper thin pieces of brass. When those vibrate, you get a tone. So when you blow out, it vibrates the top ones. You draw in, vibrates the bottom ones, right? They're faced opposite ways. That's how they have different tones, you know? So on the harmonica, you can take these reeds and the gap between the reed and the reed plate itself is usually like, you could get a piece of paper in between it. You could get like a sticky note and easily slide it between it.
Right.
Now, these guys are making it to where you couldn't even slide a piece of paper or a receipt paper.
Oh, okay.
It's so close to the reed tape, there's no air getting in. Even though it's the most minuscule amount of air, it's the biggest difference in the world on a harmonica.
Right.
So they're taking these reeds and they're setting them up, and some of them have to be filed down or retuned or whatever. But like, you know, for the most part, they're just setting, what they call it, setting a harmonica up, just like you're setting up a guitar. You know, if you get a nice good guitar, then you would take it to someone and say, "Hey, set this up for me."
Right.
It's the same, no different with a harmonica guru. Like,
Okay.
"Hey, set these harmonicas up for me to do overblows." Oh, that's what you want to do, overblows? Gotcha. You know, they'll be back to you in 3 weeks. But they manipulate these reeds, for sure. You're not going by. That's why John Popper, Blues Traveler, he never messes with overblows, and I don't mess with overblows. Like I said, I would rather the fake it till you make it route. You know, then I guess I'm a lazy musician. I
don't think that's what it is. I just think that there's like, you know, I mean, to say lazy, because I don't like that term, because like there are people that are lazy, but I have a similar thing where it's like, I just don't want to do it that way. I can accomplish it doing it my way, and I'm an artist, and so this is how I'm going to do it. Right. So it's like, it's just a matter of having your own twist on it. Now, when you say overblow, what are you talking about?
Okay. So, trying to find one. I have somewhere around here. I have one that he set up for me. I don't know. Okay, so this is an A standard A major harmonica.
Right.
It's in a Hohner Rocket, which is the new set. Anyone that's going to play harmonicas, if y'all are thinking about it, got a shout out to Hohner in here. Hohner Rockets are the newest, the ones that I could not afford, that they so kindly gave me a set.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they've, you know, have been above and beyond for me since they got me on the team. But so an overblow is what we call the ghost note. So on a 10-hole diatonic harmonica, which is every standard harmonica without a slide. If it has a slide on it, it's a chromatic harmonica. It's what Stevie Wonder and those kind of people play. You can hit the slide and you can hit the note. If you don't have a slide and you just have a harmonica, you don't have the, I'd say 2 notes, maybe 4 notes that will not be there. Now, if you want to get into overbends and all that crap, there's way more notes, but they're called ghost notes. It's trying to complete a scale on this harmonica. You're going to be missing a note.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure, don't get me wrong, but I'm pretty sure Howard Levy was the pioneer for this. I think someone before him might have discovered it, but Howard Levy made it known to the world that you can take, say, the 6th blow and blow in it and pivot the harmonica and put your jaw backwards like an overbite. And you can skip the top reed and play the bottom reed in a way that it's not supposed to be played, but will be the ghost note that you're missing.
Interesting.
And it is not easy to do. It's not easy because, like, I'll even try to do it. That's the ghost note. So here's the 6th blow. That's me bending up to where it mutes the top one and grabs the bottom one and pulls it the different direction than it would be. Because when I breathe in 6, that's the one that's the note it's hitting. When I breathe out, when I overbend,
I can't fucking hear it right now because Zoom's cutting it out, but we'll be able to hear it on the playback. But yeah,
you'll be able to hear it on the playback.
Yeah.
But it's the ghost note. And there's a lot of people who are proficient. Jason Ritchie can play them like just like butter, like Greg Homer and Howard Levy and all these people can just sit there and play these overblows in that. Somehow, I mean, it blows my mind. And, you know, people are always asking me like, oh, you're the best. Who do you listen to? And I'm like, I am not close to the best. I have found a way to make people like something that they never knew they liked. You know, I've found a way to make harmonica cool to younger people because I'm integrating it with what they're listening to.
right.
But all these younger people are like, my granddaddy, my great granddaddy, or my daddy, my grandma. There's always a grand or a great grand attached to it when it comes to, it's a sentimental thing for people. someone in their family that was probably old as dirt used to play a harmonica, and it means something to them.
Right.
So now they're scrolling TikTok and hearing it getting played to Lil Wayne and getting played to drum sets and played to all this different type of stuff. And they're like, oh man, that's pretty cool. I mean, you don't see people playing harmonica very much. So within that, I've been putting out how-to videos. I've had thousands of comments of people like, hey, I went and bought a harmonica because of you.
That's awesome.
So I'm sure Honer sees this and they're like, oh, okay, well, at some point, this guy's in here hustling for us.
100%, yeah.
One way or the other. But that's what I mean by overblows is the ghost note. It's muting a top note that you're blowing into. It's grabbing the bottom one underneath it, and it's playing it backwards.
Now, which note is that? Do you know which note that is in the scale?
No. No. See, if Gregory were on here with me, he'd be able to be like, "You're an idiot. This is what it is."
If I could hear it, I could tell you what it is. I just right now I can't hear it on the Zoom playback, but I'll go back and listen to it and see. Yeah,
I'm glad we're recording this.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm glad we're doing that because without it, it's it is.
We'll just edit the name and post the little note name on the top of the screen.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Now, so I played with a harmonica player for about a year. I did a bunch of. Yeah, tell me about it, bro. I've toured with him for about a year. We toured, all over the country, Canada, and all that. It was great. It was fun. This guy, his name's Rockin' Jake, and I always admired him because, number one, I mean, he was a great mentor for me musically. He was one of those guys that, told me what I needed to hear in the rudest way possible that made me step my game up to do the thing and to play in his band and all that stuff, especially he's like a blues traditionalist when he's playing that style. He doesn't always play that style. When he does play that style, he wants it played like that style. There's no deviation, So
guys like that hate me.
Well, I will say I don't. He's never expressed one way or the other to me how he feels about you, but I can tell you that he's not a fan of John Popper.
But he's definitely not a fan of me.
But I admired him so much because he was this guy that kind of came from a blues background, but he's so melodic and so musical when he's playing the instrument. He could play. We would do these jazz standards from time to time, and he would play the melody lines and then take these just beautiful, melodic and just heart-wrenching solos. I mean, I've seen people cry, and he's not the most technical guy on the planet. He can I don't know how technical it is. Right, exactly. He bends notes. He can do some weird tricky shit. He's got some tricks up his sleeve, but for the most part, he is just I've never.
He sings.
He sings
through his harmonica,
and I never saw him phone a gig in, man. He always sounded amazing. There was never a night, whether there was nobody there or a million, 100 people, 200 people, 1,000 people, or whatever personal shit was going on. When he got on that stage, he gives it everything. And I just always thought that was so. He was the first guy and he's the one who turned me on to Jason Ritchie and all these other harp players. And I was just yeah. So it was just it was a cool experience to play with him. And he's still.
I need to look this guy up. Shoot, I don't know nothing about him.
He's a South Florida guy. He lived in New Orleans for a long time, did the New Orleans thing, but he lives in South Florida now. And he's a heavy touring blues guy.
Can I take a 2-second bathroom break real quick? Yeah, absolutely. We like to drink. Speaking of that, can we have a little cheers real quick?
Absolutely. I've been sipping on this bourbon all night.
Oh, you've been sipping over here. Oh, I've been not sipping, that's for sure. Turns out these beers are more like Capri Suns. 2 sips and they're gone.
I feel that. Cheers, homie.
Cheers, bro.
Hell yeah.
Hey, that goes for you too, Chris. You got to hydrate.
He didn't hear you. He doesn't have his headphones on yet.
Oh, bless his heart.
Hey, watch that bless your heart shit. I'm back in the game.
He's back there. Don't make me get the blues.
I just found out that bless your heart is Southern for fuck you. Is that real?
Oh yeah. Big time.
Yeah. I don't know. It's half real. It's let's say
it's pretty
It's
real.
condescending at least, right?
75% real. Because there's those like, oh, bless his heart. And then there's also like, I don't know, you see like this little kid who's just not doing good with the wrong, not in a good space. And it's like, oh, bless his heart. It's like, you don't mean fuck you to that kid. It's like, genuine, like, oh, man, bless his heart. Like, sucks he's in that position.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I think it goes two different ways. It depends on how are you saying it sarcastically, then it's a fuck you.
Right.
It's like the word fuck. For
Right.
someone moving to America, that word can mean fuck yeah, fuck you, we're fucking. The fuck means everything.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like
Right.
someone learning the English language is like, what does this word mean? I feel like that's bless your heart. It has many meanings depending on how you say it.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Context is everything.
But
Well, I heard how you said it, so watch your mouth.
yeah, the way I said it was definitely I need to watch my mouth for sure. But back to your dude, man. I'm glad you had that player that turned you on to harp players and good people like Jason Ritchie and a bunch of other people. I'm sure you've heard of Kim Wilson, some shit. He's South Florida dude.
Oh yeah.
There's a bunch of good players, man, that never really. How do I say this without getting hate mail? I'm glad I'm not a blues player. I'm glad I don't have the stigma. I'm glad I'm not on the blues circuit.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very once again.
I'll say it for you, bro. I'll say it for you.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Did you know it?
You get stuck in that grind, man. You never leave it, and that becomes the only thing that you do. You will always be
It's your
playing
stigma.
bars. Yep, that's it. Always gonna be playing bars. I know a couple of guys from South Florida that are doing really well right now. Shout out to Albert Castilla, who was an early somebody who helped me coming up early on. And he's just had a record produced by Joe Bonamassa, and he's doing well, right? But he is so the exception to the rule in that world, and Joe Bonamassa is the exception to the rule. These guys end up selling out, big theaters and headlining blues festivals. These are, if reaching the top tier in the music industry is nearly impossible, blues makes it even more impossible than that, because there's no, it's a dying genre, number one. Number two, it's so specific.
Sad but true.
Yeah, it's I love blues. It's where I got my start. But I also
Same.
did the fucking blues circuit in South Florida for a long time, and then I came here.
I refused it.
And that's probably a good move. There's a lot of good stuff to come from it. As far as you go to the jams, you get your chops up, you learn standards, and you can, you learn how to play and cut your teeth playing in clubs and the grimy, smoky bars and the whole experience. It's a good experience. I think that people should have that experience. At the same time, you got to have an exit strategy, because you will get stuck. It's literally the reason why I left South Florida. It was like, if I don't leave here, I'm going to be stuck playing this genre for the rest of my life. Yeah, 100%.
You would still be there right now, probably playing a damn blues gig.
Still be playing with Rockin' Jake, 100%. And no offense, I love Rockin' Jake. One of my a huge mentor for me, and still to this day, I talk to him and we give each other shit all the time. It's great. However, I needed to do something else, creatively and otherwise. It was time to move on. It's a rough circuit, man.
I feel like people find that circuit, and the people that do well in that circuit will ride that forever, and that's their claim to fame. And good on you.
Yeah.
Because you got to be good to get up good in that circuit, but at the same time, that's your cap.
Totally.
That's like having a salary job.
Yep.
Well, this is what you're gonna make.
It is.
We're gonna work you to death, and you ain't never gonna make this. You're just always gonna make that.
It is
And it's like,
sorry, go ahead.
well, no, I think we're saying the same exact thing.
Yeah, 100%.
It is that genre of music, where you can reach a cap and you're never really going to grow. And if you do grow, you're going to be shunned by the community.
Yeah, totally, man. And it's 100% the blue collar grind of the music industry. it's a dock job. You know what I mean? It's hard. You're out there. You're getting by, but it's like not. You know, it's a hard life, man. Those guys, but they love it because that's what gives them the inspiration for the music. A lot of them, you know, like they say they don't. They say they want more, but they want it. They stay there. They do the thing. And you know, I've noticed similar things. Even, and this is going to get me in trouble because this is a scene that a lot of us operate in.
Here we go.
You know, I feel the same way about the jam scene. I'll cheers to this one. I'm going to need this one.
Yeah, you go ahead and cheers to this one. If we're going to get in trouble for it, might as well drink with it.
100%. I feel the same way about the jam scene in some respects, you know. You know, Jacksonville as a scene and a community has been so good to me. I love this town. I love the jam scene. I love like everything that I've been able to accomplish just being in this city. It's just been amazing, right? I do feel though that when people start to break away from what the expectation is a little bit, you know, people want their hometown heroes. That's what they want. When you start to leave the hometown and you're no longer like theirs, there's like a part of them that you lose as an artist because they're like, well, you're on to bigger and better things now. You're doing this, you're doing that. You don't show up to the jams anymore. You don't do this. You're not playing the bars anymore. It's like, and you know, from my perspective, I'm always like, well, yeah, at some point you got to stop doing those things, right? But then from the fans' perspective, the supporters' perspective, like wanting to keep this thing like so magical and close to them. It's their little hidden secret. But man, what a hard life for an artist to succumb to. You know what I mean? Do you find that at all?
Oh God, dang. Never with us. We wouldn't give a town long enough.
Right.
We had this sense of if we're in a town longer than 2 weeks, we've spent too long.
Sure. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's why the Corbitt Brothers and everyone wanted to hate on me, for sure, because I was unreliable and I was always on the road because me and my brother were always on tour. We never stopped. That's why I'm saying we lived in an RV for a decade straight with no address. Like, we just always toured. I call it getting irrelevant or getting too relevant. It equals irrelevant.
Right.
So all of a sudden you move to a town, you're doing good in that town. People start coming out. They love your shit. You have all of a sudden the next couple times you come in, there's twice as many people there. The bar owners are happy. But then all of a sudden, you know, hey, let's stick around here. Oh, you start seeing your crowd dwindle after a year or two. All of a sudden, it's not so easy to pack the crowd. And all of a sudden the bars aren't so happy. And it's like, you know it. I know it. We've all known it. We've all seen it. It's what I like to call beating a town to death. I don't believe in it. No matter what genre of music you are, you should keep your feet moving.
Yeah.
If you want to tour, then don't call yourself a touring musician that plays 7 nights in your own town. You're not a touring musician.
Do people do that?
You need to be...
people say... No, that's wild to me that people would call themselves touring musicians and they're just playing 7 nights a week in one town. That's wild to me.
Yes, but they'll be playing different bars in one town, but they're a touring musician. Because they are technically on tour from different bar to bar.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, it's easy for me and you to laugh at them, but at the same time, in their mind, you know, it's their level of success or whatever it is. You know, it means something different to everybody.
Sure.
You know, some people are driven on money and fame. Some people are driven on experience. Some people are driven on meeting friends and other people. Some people are driven on just the love of being on the road, and they don't even care about the music. They just want to be driving and seeing landscape. You know, it's something different for everybody.
Sure, yeah.
But for the bands that get complacent, they do what the cardinal sin. What we grew up with the Corbitt Brothers. You had beaten a town to death. Get the fuck out of that town. Leave. So if you ever start feeling like it's oversaturated, it's because there's too many people that won't leave. You know what I mean? And then that's also, you know, I've seen it happen in Jacksonville. I ain't gonna name no names because it's happened to me too. You know, like you get the following, you get what you want, and then it leaves. I've moved to Tennessee, had the following, then it leaves. You go here, have the following, and then it leaves. The only way to really make that work is to never show up everywhere every other month.
Yeah, totally. And
not even once a month, every other month.
Sure.
And then have other towns you hit in between. So at first it might seem to a band who's starting out like, how the hell do you do that? Well, you reach out. no one's ever going to call you.
Yeah,
ever,
of course.
ever. You have to call them. So first off, for people who are listening right now, wondering why no one's calling you, it's because they're not. No matter how good you are, they're not going to call you.
Right.
You know, unless you have a label making calls for you. So you have to call them and put in the initiative and the work and the hustle and send contracts. And, you know, if you don't know what a contract is, you write one up. You look at a template on Google for a typical band contract. You know, like, find something, make sure your money's right, make sure you allot for traveling, make sure you allot for lodging and whatever you're doing, but tour. Get out of your town, because if someone likes you in your town, that means someone's going to like you in all the towns.
Right.
It's just a matter of finding those people. So it's like, you have to tour. There's too many people that beat a scene to death.
Well, it's just like, you know, there's a big distinction that we always make a lot on this show is like the difference between being a cover band and like an original band. You know, it's like you look at, if it's quite simple when you look at how it all works. It's like you have bar bands that you know, stay in town and they do their thing, and like the expectation, if the bar has an expectation of you bringing a crowd, that's insanity, and that bar is going to fail, right? If you're a cover band playing locally, you know, 5 nights a week, whatever it is, like that's not your job. If you're an original band, you need to create brand awareness, get people to come out to your shows. At some point, you got to start selling tickets. You need to, and then you hit those markets, you know, once, like you're saying, every other month, once you start getting more established, less and less and less, and then you see your favorite bands out there doing what they're doing, and they're hitting markets once a year, you know, and like then that's it, you know. It's like,
also cater to your crowd.
Yeah.
Ask your fans. Find out who they're listening to.
Right.
I mean, I'm not saying be a total rip, but rip. You're already ripping whoever's your influence on your instrument.
Yeah, man.
So, so it's like, you know, when it comes to it, what is your fan base? Okay, we like JJ Graham Mofro. Well, cool. Maybe we should write a couple songs more like, kind of like that.
Right.
I mean, not saying to rip them, but just take the influence of whoever is your people. What are y'all listening to? Ask them. Be one with your fans. Like, get off stage and don't take pictures and just be like, hey, you know what? When you're not here, who do you listen to? Write that shit down. Look them up. Figure out what they're listening to. And honestly, like, write songs towards it or cover songs from the obscure bands that people aren't listening to.
Totally.
You know, if you're going to cover, everyone knows a cover band's going to do it. I could name off your song list for you.
Wagon Wheel, Tennessee Whiskey, fucking.
Come on.
Yeah.
At the same time, though, that's the Corbitt Brothers shit. We would do it all for you. We'd do Freebird for you. Girl, you gonna put $100 in there? Come on.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it's like we didn't care. The stigma was like, not a stigma, you know, like songs are overplayed because they're good songs.
Right.
Usually. The Wagon Wheel, when it first came out, it's a catchy ass song.
It's a great song.
It is what it is. It's a really good song. It was written well and it was performed well and it did well.
Absolutely.
But then it got overplayed to a point of like bars like, you will not play Wagon Wheel. You will not play Freebird. We talking about will not play Freebird. Like, that is one of the hardest, most crazy, intricate, like, fuel testosterone driven songs there is, man. Like,
yeah.
It's a fucking hard song to do right.
It's a banger too. People love it. You know?
It's a banger, but it got overplayed.
Yeah.
And it's in every movie and every soundtrack and everything. So it's like people are like, oh, songs suck. No, it didn't. It got so good that it sucked. Like, that's a hell of an achievement.
Yeah, totally.
You know, I would love for one of my songs to be so good that it sucked because I'd be swimming in the money.
Every musician can sit here, and I'm one of them. I get on my Freebird hate bandwagon as well. However, every musician that's hating on songs that are that iconic just wish that they wrote a song that iconic, and that's what it boils down to.
I mean, straight up, dude. Straight up.
But yeah, man, I definitely feel what you're saying. You know, this industry is so reliant on what other people think about what you're doing, right? Like, your entire career depends on other people liking what it is that you're doing. So to your point about, you know, even if you're not doing the cover band thing, like where you are writing music and stuff, I think it is important to like know what your fans are listening to, like who are their favorite bands, right? And find out like, okay, well, if that's the direction we want to go, let's maybe, obviously don't, like you're saying, don't bite what they're like their songs, but like maybe right within that genre and see if you can kind of create something that they're going to enjoy on the same level. Like it's just market research. It's literally what it is. And then you start to tailor your product to what your fans want. And then you will hopefully see more of them, and there'll be more supporters, and they'll tell their friends, and then their friends come out. And it's the whole thing. But like you got people that have this like chip on their shoulder about like succumbing to what their supporters want. It's like, you got to get over yourself, because we are in the service industry at the end of the day, you know.
Hey, Anton, bless their little hearts.
Yeah. I'm learning so much hanging out with all my Southern friends now. Bless their little hearts.
Dude, you have to realize at a certain point, bless your little heart.
Yeah.
If you're going to be so mad about it, and you're going to be so angry about it and aggro about it, while everyone else is successful and you're not, look around.
Totally, man.
Be humble. Take a humbling lesson and realize that, like, yeah, you might be good at what you do. A, you're not putting yourself out there enough. You're not treating it. Okay, no, I'm not going to say that, because that's going to be on my next point. B, you're not treating your band like a business.
Right.
There's a whole different deal. Successful bands usually did not just someone saw them.
Right.
That's like 70s shit.
Right.
Maybe 80s shit, but turns the 90s, it started, that even changed. Internet came along, all that's out the window.
Totally.
So, like, you know, you're not treating it like a business. If you treat your music like a business, so a business has quarterly sales. Business has overhead. Business has strategic plans on how to cut down gas prices, which is routing.
Right.
This is what a record label used to do. They would have someone doing all this, like a team of people. It wasn't like two people just making a tour.
Right.
It's a team of people. Someone's making your posters while someone's routing out your tour
Yeah.
the most gas efficient way.
Marketing,
like,
promo, the whole fucking shebang.
Yeah.
It's all of it, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
But now we have the tools to do it alone.
Yeah.
So for the musicians who fucking, I'm like, you know, you could. Now, do you want to, or do you want to hire someone to do it? Because it's going to cost you a lot of money, but somebody will get you where you want to be if you got enough money. I mean, money rules everything.
I would
So it's one of the...
I would 100% advise that musicians outsource as much of that stuff as possible, because we are not good at that stuff. Okay. Like
No.
I can sit here and explain how album cycles work and how marketing strategies work when you're releasing singles and records, and how you tour on them and how you budget for all this stuff. But at the, when it, and I know, like I have a very good understanding of how it works. I am terrible at doing that work. The promo stuff, the marketing stuff, the social media, like all of it. If you're in a position, or even if you're not in a position, figure out a way to put yourself in a position where you can outsource that work. Because at the end of the day, your job is to create music. You need to hire a team. You want a team of people around you that where you can delegate, because that's what a good leader does. They delegate responsibilities, and
You just said it.
That's what it is, man. It's like you delegate the responsibility, and that way you can run your enterprise as efficiently as possible. And that's what running the business is. You know, it's the whole thing. At the end of the day, what you want to do is create, right? You want to perform. You want to write records. You want to tour. You want to do all that stuff. But at the end of the day, you're a musician. Do that, and and understand how the rest of it works, and then figure out who the right people are to do that job, because it's not your job. It's not my job.
Well, you think about it. So you just hit it right on the head. What I'm about to say is a 100% reflection of what you said, but it's a saying. Someone told me in a bar a long time ago. He said, I'm almost 90 years old and I'll probably end up dying tomorrow, but I got two things to tell you, young man. And I was hammered drunk, but I will never, ever forget it. He said, number one, if you don't go to bed that night, don't go to bed before you go to work. Just go straight into work, drunk as hell. Don't take that nap, because you're never going to wake up for the job. It's going to ruin you. If you stay up all night, man up and stay up all day. And I thought, what a weird thing to say. And the second thing was, do what you do best and delegate the rest.
I love
Always
that.
stuck with me. Do what you do best and delegate the rest. Do what you were born to do and let someone else do what they were born to do.
Right.
You'll be a successful people. And I just will always remember those two things. Like, fuck, that's powerful. Because how many times have I stayed up all night long and then took that hour-long nap and missed whatever the hell I was supposed to get up for?
Yeah.
You know, or get up feeling twice as worse as you would if you would have just stayed up drunk. You'd feel great going to that, whatever you needed to go through.
Can we talk about?
that was.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No. Let's talk about it.
Bro,
Like,
I'm not gonna name names, but you know exactly what I'm talking about because you were there. Halloween 2018. There may have been a trust fall involved, and somebody took a nap before a set. And
yep.
bro, oh my god, what a fucking!
Don't ever take the nap. The old dude told me, power through, and once the job is done, take your nap.
That's where he fucked up, bro. He took the nap.
That's what the dude told me in the bar, and I'll never forget it. Along with do what you do best and delegate the rest,
100%.
which is exactly what you just explained.
100%, man.
So musicians out there that don't want to pay for it, realize if you're too lazy or not interested or you're too busy writing songs and doing this and doing that and fixing the band van and scheduling a tour, get someone else to do your social media.
Yeah.
There's people right out of college who will do it. And you might think, oh, I don't have the money. You do have the money because they're going to make you money.
Exactly.
Those people, every business venture delegates what they can't do onto someone, and you have to pay for that.
Right.
So if you want to be successful, your band can't be a band. Your band has to be a lucrative business.
Right.
And I've been in bands before where we thought everything was normal and fine, and then we get screwed by taxes. Who thinks about taxes? You know, then you got to open up a business and an LLC. Well, now you have a business taxes, and now everything's a write-off, but then how do you manage that?
Right.
Well, now you need to go get an accountant.
Right.
And you need to talk to someone. And if you know someone, put it out there on Facebook. Do I know an accountant that can help me out? Off the record. You know people. You know, anyone who's in a band, it's one of those using your networking your resources. You know, right now I'm in a corporate job, which is so different, but no different. It's you know, if you don't want to work as hard as you're pushed to work, well, use your resources and you won't have to.
Right.
It's like, okay, I'm right back on tour again. Okay, I see what you're saying.
It's the same shit, man. That's what people like musicians. That's why I was going back to, you know, bringing it all full circle again. Like musicians have this way of like whining and complaining about being an artist. And it's just like, it's just, I sometimes to me, it's just like, there's this desire to want to avoid like real world scenarios, you know? And it's like, okay, man, like you want to play music, you don't want to work a real job, but guess what? Like, this is a real job. It just is that. And the second you want,
dude, if the most of the people that you adore in these big bands also have a real job, because when that tour ends, their paycheck ends.
Totally.
I know people I'm not even gonna name names because I don't even want to go there. I know people in the biggest bands who you would think, oh, that guitar player probably makes $1 million. No, that guitar player makes $750 a show.
Right.
Which to us is great, but like when the main guy's making $1 million a show or more, every band member's making $500 to $750 a show.
Right.
Maybe making $1,000, but I doubt it. Highly doubt it. And that's sold out arenas.
Right.
It's not that much money in the band unless you're the guy.
No, the artist makes money. The band is getting paid, you know, a corporate wedding band rate, basically.
Exactly.
Which is fun.
And when that tour's over, your paycheck.
It's done. That's it. You know, so
if they pick up next year, well, I'll see you next year. But until then, you might want to get a job.
Or leverage that scenario to get you another gig where you can tour with another band, right? So it's like it's navigating the system, but it's at the end of the day, it's all work. It's all about like, you know, there's the networking, there's you know, again, the money stuff, the finances, like just the business side of it, the promotion side of it. There's just all of it, and you're just not going to avoid like having to do the work. And playing music is 5% of what being a musician is all about. The rest of it is real world bullshit that we have to just deal with, you know? That's what it is, man.
And then you have to add in the little factor of the future and of the present. And of like, yeah, okay, so Anton spent his whole life learning his craft, learning this guitar, learning how to write, learning how to tour, learning how to do all this. And then you have this little dude over here on a ukulele playing 3 chords talking about living off of LA cocaine and Starbucks. And he's making millions off a 3-chord ukulele song on TikTok.
Right.
And on Instagram. And he's blowing up when his voice is flat. Songs don't make sense. I don't know, but can you relate to LA cocaine and Starbucks? I mean, I can't. I ain't never lived there. I don't know nothing about that life.
Maybe the cocaine Starbucks part.
Well, it's cocaine and Starbucks. It's just a whole different. I mean, I could write a whole song about. Never mind. I'm not even gonna say it. We're live. My mom's gonna watch this, but it is what it is, man. Like, you have to realize that as much as you pour into it, there are gonna be people who are being different. I can't stress that enough to people. I want to say this real clear because a lot of people have asked me, and I don't feel like I've had the medium as I do right now to really put this out there because there's a lot of stipulation on how I got the fame on TikTok and stuff and kind of blew up on there. And I want people to really understand what that meant to me because it's very different. And the only way I can say this is to tell you, well, I'm not without naming any names. My rep from my company that I love so much told me when I came into the office to sign a contract and I said, wow, this is a long time coming. I said, me and my brothers sat down and calculated over 15 years of playing harmonica. I've spent $275,000 on harmonicas. Let that sit in a minute. $275,000 and just harmonicas in a 15-year stint. You know how many fucking guitars you could have bought? Packs of strings. Nothing. I don't know anyone who has spent that much money on their instrument other than rock stars who got that money to spend.
Right.
All of it came out of the band fund, the band's money. So by the time I sat down and told these people that, and they looked at me and were like, wow, thank you for supporting our business and for using that. But can we be completely honest with you?
Yes, I love this
and
part.
I said, please, because I'm really interested to know why I'm signing this contract. After all these years, I'm really interested. And they told me just like this. If we would have been scrolling and seen you play blues, I'd have scrolled right past you. If we would have been scrolling and seen you play country, I'd scroll right past you. If I would have seen you playing jazz fusion, funk, any type of harmonica, I would have scrolled right past you. But you put something that I know so well into a genre that we don't know so well. You are the face and the voice of modern harmonica as it stands. You are making harmonica cool to young kids. For that record, we want you on our team. For that reason. And I kind of sat back and went, oh. In my life, I have got to cross out my bucket list already. I don't have any checks left. I've been very fortunate as a musician. Harmonica has put me on every stage I've ever wanted to be on, with every band that I could ever imagine of wanting to be on with. So I'm thinking like all that was the reason for this sponsorship. It was nothing. It meant nothing to them. Everything that I based my pride on meant nothing to them. And this 10-second little click on TikTok meant everything to them. And it really was a reality check for me as a human and as a musician who has made this a lifelong career. You know, granted, I'm only 35, but there's no stopping. It's like I might have another job, but I'm never going to stop playing music. And one day I'll probably be back to full-time playing music. But it was one of those humbling moments for me that was just kind of like, maybe earlier on in my life, I should have got out of my head and not focused so much on the material things I was focusing on. I was so busy trying to, or not me, but we collectively, in each band I've ever been in, We're so busy trying to find a way to be different that people didn't want different. People wanted the same old thing with something different in it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a weird way to say it, I understand, but like people want what they want.
Right.
That's why cover bands do well. That's why it's hard for an original band to play a set without playing covers in between your original songs, because people want to hear what the hell they want.
Right.
So if you can give them a touch of what they want with your flair in it and call that original, you have opened up Pandora's box.
100%.
So that's it's kind of one of these things that I'm trying to preach to people these days, is like, I don't think my head was right back in the day. I think we were just we were focused on the party and the money and the, you know, smoking weed and drinking and touring and how many people were showing up. And it was like, you know, we were living the life. We were doing the motions instead of worrying about like a sustainable, like, how could we take our music, listen to what our fans are listening to and meld it into that. And then listen to what our fans aren't listening to. The people who hate us, what are they listening to? How can I put what I do with that? And then put that out there to maybe get both of them.
Right.
And I feel like that's where a lot of people don't want to think about, because it seems too hard or it seems too far-fetched.
Well, yeah, I think people don't like the idea of tailoring their style to the mass population. And it, again, as an artist, as a musician, your entire career is to try and figure out how to get the mass population to buy your shit. So it's kind of like incumbent on you to figure out like the thing, like what's worked in the past, and then figure out how to put your spin on it. And that's why you found the success that you found, because you do something that's you've taken a traditional instrument that people can recognize and they know the sound of, and you put this entirely different spin on it, and people are like, holy shit, you know, you became a player in the game. You're no longer just like a participant in spectating or like whatever it might be. You've changed the game, you know, so congratulations for that. And you know, that's where every artist strives to make that kind of an impact. Every single person here, every artist that's ever written a song has done it with the intention of believing that their thing is going to be a game changer. And the vast majority of them are just fooling themselves. But you did it, man. So congratulations, you know.
Man, I appreciate what you're saying, the sentiment of what you're saying, but I don't feel like I did shit. I don't feel like I did anything different than anyone's ever done before me. You know what I mean? I was just the only, I'm not even going to say the only one to do it, because I'm sure someone's done it before.
Sure, but you
everything's already been done. I just happen to be on the right platform at the right time, putting out the right shit, and people, and it's not like I have millions of followers. I got 175,000, which I'm not bitching about. It's great.
Yeah.
You know, but the people who are like, oh, you're not TikTok, man, you ain't got a million. Well, that's fine. I've had 14 million views. I've had 14 million people have at least watched one of my videos or scrolled past it, whatever you want to put it as. Shit would never happen if I hadn't have thought outside the box. It wasn't me sitting there going, you know what, I'm gonna get on here and do blues licks. I'm gonna show people how.
Right.
It would have never gotten anywhere.
You were being creative, man. That's what worked. It's important to note that it wasn't the 10-second clip that got you discovered. It was your creativity and your spin on something that people, again, like recognized but didn't understand what you were doing, and it worked. You know, it's like, so I think that's an important distinction to make between, like, you know, well, the 10-second clip is where I found my voice. It's like, no, that was the platform in which your voice got discovered, because you were able to fully kind of discover the extent of your creativity on that platform, and at the right time, the right place. And that's literally the story old as time. It's always the right time and the right place, you know? Yeah. So you've done it, man. And congratulations on that. It's truly just, you know, it's the pinnacle that we're all trying to reach, you know? So
I appreciate it, man. But like I said, dude, the only difference I feel like I've made is when I see people say, hey, I bought a harmonica because of you.
Totally. And that's
it's like, fuck yeah.
absolutely.
Cool, fuck yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, if that can inspire the younger generation or any generation, honestly, to buy a harmonica, I mean, like, it's the same reason my dad gave me that stupid ass $5 Cracker Barrel harmonica, and I was like, "What the hell is this for?" It changed the course of my entire life.
Right.
I would definitely be in prison or dead by now, hands down.
Yeah.
What I was dealing with before the harmonica came into my life, I promise you, I'd be dead, and if not, I'd definitely be in prison. So it's like, you know, it took me from that and put me into a world of a bunch of musicians who are screwy, crazy people, but at the same time, they all have something in common. They're all trying.
Exactly.
You know, they're all trying to make it whatever that means to them. And they all have a couple people who love them for what they do. And, you know, all I can say and all I keep preaching to people, man, is selling out was a thing of the 90s. It was a thing of the 80s. It was a thing of like selling out. I don't even know if selling out, and you might have a completely adverse, you know, effect to this, which I would love to hear, but like selling out in the internet age is kind of like, you know, what does that even mean? You know what I mean? Like, at the same time, I'm not telling you to sound like, I'm not saying ask your people who they like and try to sound just like them. It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you want to grow and expand, don't leave someone out.
Right.
If you're a bluegrass band and all we do is bluegrass, damn it, but you got a fan who wants to hear a reggae song, why not do a reggae version of bluegrass or a bluegrass version of a reggae song? It's like you're not selling out. You're trying to tickle the pickle of someone who really loves you, you know. And well, my favorite band's Pink Floyd, but all you play is bluegrass. Well, hell, let's learn this for them. Maybe she's not the only person that will like this. I feel like that's where the Corbitt Brothers found our success, is where it was like people wanted to hear certain things, and we weren't like, no, we don't do that. When we would be touring with bands who were like, no, hell nah, I'd rather be dead than do that.
Right.
And I'm like, really? Fuck, I don't know, I'll do it. I mean, like, we're all musicians here, shit. We're all like trying to make it. Like, if somebody's asking for it and we know how to play it as musicians, we should probably play it. I look back to it like old as time, like jesters. Like, dance for me, Pookie. I have you till 6.
That is what we are. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, we're jesters.
Yeah.
We're entertainers.
100%.
So entertain me, motherfucker. And the more you entertain me, the more money I'm going to give you. And it's like...
Exactly. And it's a saying, and we'll end on this note because we got to wrap it up, but there's a saying that I always say on this podcast, and you kind of hit it on the head. There is no selling out. There is only buying in. And that's what it is, bro, in my opinion. So speaking of opinions, let's hit on popular opinions. This is a segment that we always close the show out with. So basically the way that it works, typically Billy starts it off, but Billy's no longer with us. So
the naysayer.
The naysayer. No, we love Bill. He just doesn't want to do this anymore.
I love Billy.
Yeah.
But, no, I have nothing but love for Billy, but he would be the one on here like, I don't believe you. I don't like that.
Yeah.
You know, everything I say, he's going to be like, and I love him for it.
Totally.
You know,
that was.
I anticipated that tonight. I was like, oh God, I got to deal with the naysayer.
No, that is the beauty of our dynamic and relationship, and you know, maybe he'll be back one day. We can continue that dynamic, but
hey, man, a break is good for everybody.
100%. So, Chris, you're gonna have an unpopular opinion now since Billy's gone. What's your unpopular opinion, bro?
Thanks for the heads up, by the way.
Yeah, I just thought about it right now.
I don't know. Maybe it's the talent gets paid too much. That's my unpopular opinion.
Incorrect, but okay.
No, it's you know, the producers, you know, put in all this legwork. They push the buttons, you know.
Oh, everyone plays a role 100%, but there is no business without the brand, and the brand is the talent, unfortunately.
Oh, I don't know about that, man. Producers, we could produce whatever. We'll produce a blade of grass.
But you don't. Producers get
He's
hired.
right, though.
Producers get hired, and that's the difference, right?
Yeah, but all of a sudden, you can produce a blade of grass that goes viral, and all of a sudden, you're a world-renowned, you know, grass producer.
Sure, then you will hire producers to work for you at that point, and then you will be the brand.
No, because then I'm A&R. I'm the talent scout. I'm, you know, my talent isn't mouthy. It's just growing, and I can foster that. I don't know.
All right, cool. Well, when
kinda
you
want
find
that.
an entire industry that that is selling out arenas because of a producer, then you let me know.
I'm
And-
working on it as hard as I can, dude.
All right, bro. That sounds like it sounds like a real uphill battle for you. See where that's a good unpopular opinion though. I like it.
Yeah. Well, now that I get to play the game, I'll have a couple for you. So
Isaac, what you got, bro?
Oh, man.
And don't give me the bullshit. I don't have any unpopular opinions. We all got unpopular opinions. Let's fucking do
Oh,
it.
no. I have the opposite problem.
got
I've
you.
watched your show so much. I've actually made notes in my phone of what I would say if I was ever on this
Oh, I
show.
love
but
it.
I'm actually currently on my phone right now, so I can't draw them back. And so I'm just going to go ahead and throw one out there that it means a lot to me. There's two of them. But for the sake of doing one,
Give them both to us, bro. Let's do it.
I'm going to give it both because they both have to do with the same thing.
Let's do it.
First off, how do you eat pizza without mustard on it?
what the fuck?
That is
And second off, ranch goes on everything.
Agreed.
Even cereal.
well.
Everything.
Can I just
Everything.
Bless his heart, man.
okay? Let me just dissect this for a second. I believe that ranch goes well with most things. Okay, so I'm kind of with you there. Not the cereal part. Mustard on pizza is
Can't eat it without it.
the top 3 trashiest things I've ever heard said in my life.
Well, you're hanging with the top 3 one of the top 3 trashiest people you've ever hung
I
with.
just
probably.
discovered that, bro. Fucking mustard
Oh,
on
bro.
pizza. That has got to be. I mean, holy
Let me ask you a
fuck.
question.
If you could put,
do you like mustard?
No.
Well, then you're not gonna like it. Chris, do you like mustard?
I love it. Like stone ground mustard, like really Dijon.
Any
quality
mustard. I don't give a
mustard.
shit what kind of
Oh, dude,
mustard you like.
sign me
my
up. I'm
goodness.
on-
You-
I'm
now,
here
the
for
second question: do you like pizza,
it. I love it. Yeah.
bro? Don't knock it till you try it. I have turned on so many people to this by the hundreds, and they've just been like, "What the fuck?" I said, like, it's the best combination ever.
That if you could put like trailer trash into food, you just did it, bud.
You know what? I'm proud of that
Yeah.
statement. I will own that shit. I'll probably make myself a plaque hanging on my wall.
Yeah.
Trailer trash.
Fuck him, Isaac. I know what I'm getting after the podcast.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, you know you do. Damn right.
I love it. That's
we got-
that is a great unpopular opinion, by the way. That was
Very
phenomenal.
unpopular. Very unpopular.
I mean, yeah, it's just, what an awful thing to try. Okay, so
See, no, don't hate on it. You gotta try.
I'm gonna try it next week in the podcast. We're gonna do it on the episode. We're gonna try pizza with mustard.
Okay, so so for you that's not such a big fan of mustard, mix mustard with ranch. I call it rustard.
Ooh, that could
And
work.
then diet. So the people that not are big mustard fan,
Yeah.
I say mix it with ranch because everything goes better with ranch, and then try it. To water it down a little bit for you, put it with some ranch. But like for the people who like mustard,
Rustard. Oh my goodness. So I'm learning so
Dude,
much today. What do you got there,
so much
Chris?
redneck shit.
There's just a New York Times article about this whole topic.
Really?
I didn't. There's
What?
You've tapped into something that I didn't know was this visceral, man.
This is our clip for the week. This is our
I knew
unpopular
it.
opinion clip for the week. It's gonna go viral. We had a couple clips go viral. One about me talking shit about the Layla solo, and then another one.
Oh, dude, I saw that. You got shunned
Oh
for that
my
one.
god,
boy.
I got so
Damn
much
it.
hate for that one. And then another one was shitting on country rap. I said it was a terrible genre, and I got a lot of haters after that one too.
Which is funny because I'm in that genre and I still hate it.
Man, there's a difference, like there's people like they were kind of like pioneers of the genre, like Everlast and stuff, and it's fine. Like that works. That's not what I'm talking about though. I'm talking about like the fucking when it sounds like Jason Aldean is rapping over a trap
God.
beat, that kind of shit. And I don't give a fuck. I'll say this right now. Eric Upchurch, garbage, hot garbage.
First off, his name's Ryan Upchurch.
Same difference.
And second off, you can call him garbage all you want, but as a musician, you better respect him because he had no label, was the underdog. Everyone fucking rooted against him.
Yeah.
And now he is sold out. 20,000 people, has
Hey.
his own record label, and is fucking working with Jelly Roll.
I will never hate-
I'm not a big fan of Upchurch's music, but I'm a big fan of who he is and what he's done.
Bro, I will never knock anyone's hustle. If you're out there grinding and you're doing your thing, I'm not going to knock that 100%. Right.
As far as the music,
I mean, hot garbage. It's hot garbage. Anyways,
but Yeah.
Yeah, it works. He does what he does. It's fine.
Mustard and pizza.
Yeah. Ryan Upchurch definitely eats that for sure.
Hey, that's why we'd probably get along.
Yeah. All right. So my unpopular opinion, something that you said earlier that kind of sparked this in me. And I've done a lot of back and forth in my head about this because as somebody who also never took lessons or, had like a classical, like traditional training in music, I would also, the inclination is to say, well, I'm self-taught, but I don't believe that any musician is actually self-taught. Because we're all like studying something. We're all listening. We're like playing something, and then we're copying licks. And maybe we didn't have like the training in the classroom, taking the test and like transcribing and like. And,
that's what that means.
Right. Totally. But I think that we all like nobody like just taught themselves out of thin air how to play an instrument.
I think self-taught to me means more of like
it's just ear-based, learning by ear.
So, well, yeah, ear, but like there's people who come up to me and go, "How do you learn these licks on harmonica?" Well, what I do is I take my phone and my voice recorder and I take them and I record organ players at a show. And if I like the guitar player or the bass player, I'll record them. And I'll go home and learn that line on harmonica, whether it was organ, bass, guitar, singing, a vocal line. I will take something from them and I will learn that. So to say that I'm all self-taught is complete bullshit.
Yeah.
But I also taught myself how to play what they just did. They didn't sit down with me, and there was no harmonica teacher to be like, let me break down this solo for you.
Totally.
Like I taught myself that solo, but it wasn't my solo. So
and then,
I feel you there.
Yeah. Because then you take those licks and then like you do them your own way and then you implement them into your playing, and it's like before you know it, like you're not like a carbon copy version of somebody else, but your entire bag, like anybody else who was trained as well, is pulling from all these different influences. So it's not like you is like nobody, like you and I having not had any like real training as musicians, nobody like we weren't like put in a void in a box, given our instruments and said, there you go. Because then that would be self-taught. Like not having heard music, never seeing anyone play the instrument, and then just having someone put it in front of you and just say, here you go. That would be to me self-taught, and I don't think that exists. So I don't know. But Isaac, thank you so much for being here, man.
Thank you for having me, man. Honestly, it's been a long time, and the time kind of caught me by surprise because I had a whole nother thing I was going to bring up with you when it comes to hand-to-hand combat and jiu-jitsu and MMA.
What's up?
Because I think me and you have a lot to talk to when it comes about that. My dad trained that my whole entire life.
I've heard.
Growing up.
Yeah.
And I see you, doing your thing on the internet, and it's like, it brings a whole level of respect, not that I say that I never had for you, that I never knew about you, I have a large level of respect for anyone who takes up, I don't know what I'm trying to say there as far as like takes up responsibility of learning how to protect you and the ones around you.
Right.
It's something that most people shy away from because they don't want a physical altercation, but at the same time,
not only shy away from it, but do you ever get did you train as well?
Yeah.
So do you ever feel like people not only shy away from it, but actually try and make you feel bad for engaging in the thing? Like it's almost like stupid to be doing it type shit.
Yeah, but it's also the same way of people that don't, believe in you're terrified of guns. But
yeah.
I build ARs and
right.
I shoot guns. I've been shooting guns. I'm not going to even go into this because we're on the internet right now. But like let's just say since a small child, since I was old enough to hold one, it's been a part of my life. Same as fighting. Not that I've been in a bunch of fights because the way I was trained to fight wasn't boxing. It was how to seriously injure someone. So it's not something you just go get into because I'm never trying to cop a murder charge. It's just, it is what it is, So, the training that I received growing up was like, if it's worth fighting over, it's worth killing over, So there's no like, hey, you're getting in a fight at school because you disagreed on something. It was like, if I got in a fight, it was, I'm trying to take you out.
Yeah.
That's how I learned. Like this, it's just what I was taught, and it wasn't necessarily a negative thing, but it was also a thing that like it taught discipline to me. And there was other friends of mine who, were very inspired by my father, it taught discipline to them that their parents never showed them. And some of those people still to this day run their own dojo and are very successful, and from kids all the way to MMA fighters. So it's like, I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's something that, I think people don't talk about, when you talk about musicians, and this is a musician podcast, every musician should have an outlet other than music.
Yes.
To let off steam and to just focus your energy elsewhere other than music, because it can drive you crazy. So that doesn't have to be hand-to-hand combat. Doesn't have to be anything even close to that. I also enjoy painting, acrylics, just as much as I enjoy, training, fighting, and playing music. It's an outlet. They're all different outlets. So, when I found that out about you, I thought that was very interesting that we had similar interests on that's an outlet for you that you still pursue that I haven't pursued in years because I grew up with it. Now my whole life's encapsulated in having children and working and playing music. But I respect you a lot for that and for what you've accomplished doing that, man. I just wanted to put that out there.
Man, I really appreciate that. I've been involved in martial arts in some capacity for a lot of my life, but this is the first time where I've really, found something that I felt like was very practical martial art. Muay Thai is very, the idea is to kill your opponent as aggressively as possible, and
as quick as possible.
As quick as possible, and the art of using all your limbs and to me it's I find so much similarities between Muay Thai and music in the way that the fighting is it's an improv jam, it's
a flow.
Yes,
it flows.
Exactly, and it's exactly that, man. It's just like a jam where it's a flow. There's things happening. You're reacting. They're reacting. Sometimes there's a disruption, and then you have to adjust. And it's it's a dance, and it's so, and it's a discipline that you have to practice and get your technique right. Otherwise, you're not going to do the thing correctly. It's very much a similar.
And someone's going to eat your fucking lunch.
Oh my God, man. That's what's so cool about it too, is, you go in there and you really do have to take your mind off of everything, because if you don't, you're going to get your ass kicked. That's just what it is. It's time to, whatever shit's happening professionally, personally, family-wise, anything, it all has to literally stay at the door, because we're here, we're training, and you're especially with the coaches and the students that are more advanced, they know how to really hurt you if you're not paying attention, and they're not even doing it to it's just the idea.
It's muscle memory for them.
Exactly. So to me it's such an amazing discipline, and I find great therapy in it. So shout out to Ruckus Muay Thai over in
for sure,
Rail Yard District and all that. They're just an amazing crew of people, and it's done so much just for my mental state and everything.
Well, I wanted to bring it up because I know it's another passion of yours, and I just wanted to bring this up for the musicians and the people that will be watching this. It's music doesn't have to be everything. Right. Find another outlet. Find something that, music, you can get burned out quick.
Yeah.
So don't let yourself burn out. And what I mean by that is have another outlet, whether that be any other medium of art. And I am not excluding fighting as an art. You know what I mean? You have to very much know what you're doing, or you don't, clearly. It's one of those things where you can find anything that it is, but I would encourage people to find something else. Find something else that you love. I mean, even people that love guitars, maybe making guitars, maybe working on guitars. Find something that brings you out of just the everyday of your hustle, because whenever you go to practice, and you're driving yourself crazy and you can't get that lick, you need something else you can go do.
Right.
Because I don't feel like you'll ever grow if you don't have something else. If that's all you focus on, it's hard to grow.
100%.
Because you just beat yourself up. And it's good to have a creative outlet. And when I saw that you were into that, and I was like, man, that's really cool that Anton's into that. But it makes a lot of sense. You're disciplined in your playing. You're disciplined in your Muay Thai. You're disciplined in what you do. But it brings that discipline to your life.
Right.
It helps you be a better you.
100%, man.
If that makes any sense for people.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it on the head. 100%, man. That means a lot. I appreciate you bringing that up, and I'm glad we can connect on that level. It's very cool.
Yeah, for sure, man. It is what it is. One of my I just actually found out. I'll end it at this, but like the unpopular opinion that I had wrote down for tonight was, if you're 18 and you still haven't been punched in the face, you should have to line up, go downtown, get in line, and let someone just
Rock your ass.
Bow! Just one time, just one. Because if you've never felt like what it feels like to get struck by another human being, it's exhilarating and it hurts you deep down in. Not just a physical hurt, but like your feelings
pride,
are hurt. Your pride's hurt, your feelings hurt, and also then you feel the damn that hurt.
Well,
Like,
it lets you know how
but it's
vulnerable
good
you
for
are.
people. Well, it's primal. It's
Yeah.
primal. And the day and age of a keyboard where everyone can talk as much shit as they want, you should at least know what it feels like to get popped.
100%, man. 100%.
Because the real world does not work like that. You go talking shit to someone, they go pop you.
100%.
And it's like, you don't even have to fight back. Most of them will just pop you and walk away and let
Right.
you know they learned your lesson. Most of them aren't out to kill you.
Right.
So it's like, when it comes to that outlet, me and you can get along great, and I'll leave it at that. But, I do wanted to bring that up and tell you I'm proud of you for it, man. I think it's great that you have that outlet, man.
Cheers, homie. Thank you so much for doing this, and thank you for that acknowledgement. And we got to do this again. We've got so much more to talk about, I feel like.
I'd love to. Hey, a big thanks to Chris for running everything and making this all.
Star of the
making it
show, the
happen,
producer.
Happy to be here.
Also, one of my favorite guitar players in all of Jacksonville.
Oh, you're too sweet, bro.
He did win Jacksonville's best guitar player recently, so
I'm not surprised even a little bit.
absolutely.
He should be one of Florida's best guitar players. Like, he's underrated. Him and Dylan Adams are the two most underrated players there are. And I will stand by. I tell that people all the time. You're talking about Florida, it's Chris Underall and damn Dylan Adams.
Dylan's coming on the podcast in a couple of weeks, so I'm excited to talk to him about some stuff.
Can't wait to see that one.
Hell yeah.
Woo!
All right, bro.
Well, thank y'all, man. Appreciate y'all having me on.
Cheers, man. Talk to you soon.
All right, boo.
Yeah.